Greetings, brothers and sisters. So, a lot of stuff to get to today in terms of news stuff. Got the MSNBC thing is a gift that keeps on giving. Jen Psaki, another one of her up close and personal things I've been really enjoying doing, and there's a lot of great things all of a sudden YouTube's recommending to me from MSNBC. I'll get to the stuff to do with DeSantis announcing his candidacy, but mostly it's just funny stuff. Like I'm not, I don't care about any of that. I guess some other stories and things. But I wanted to start off by saying YouTube has reversed. Let me go read the emails. I got a bunch of emails today. I got a heartfulness email, even though I've been, blocking all those emails. And so that was a thing. And then I got sent something. Well, I'll cover that in my journey series. But so this is the first thing that was sent to me. Hi, we have some good news for you. Our team has reviewed your account based on your detailed appeal, and we're happy to let you know that it has been reactivated. You can now use it. You can now use it to advertise again. Again, thank you for waiting while we reviewed your appeal, and we're sorry if this caused you any disruption. If some of your ads seem to be not running, try using ad preview and diagnostics tool to help diagnose why. Remember, then more work for me, like more things I got to figure out on my end. That's your job. That some of our ads may still be disapproved if they do not follow our terms and conditions and advertising policies. Feel free to contact us through our support team here if you have any further questions. Thanks, G-Tech Consumer Experience. And then I got a second email here where, where's that? Google Ads. And it says here, your Google Ads account has been reactivated. Your account was temporarily suspended to verify your billing information and policy compliance. It's now been reactivated, so your ads can start running again. Ads can start running automatically if your billing information is up to date. If you don't want your account to serve ads and accrue costs, either pause your campaign or cancel your account. And it said to do that wherever it was, right? And so here is what it says here. So they're spending a lot of money here. They've spent $35. It's supposed to be $20 a day, so we might have to pause this thing. And they've had 30,000 impressions and 0 click-throughs. And so I don't know how to measure this. Here's my video. My video's gotten 2,158 views. And so I'll go ahead and refresh this here. And it's now up to 2,263. So whatever I said before. I don't know. So it's 100 more views. So I'm not sure what's happening with their ads. But we'll see. I just need to probably go back and talk to somebody. And I did a screen grab of this video and the amount of subscribers that I've gotten. And I'm going to see if there's any boost to that. But I just don't have any faith in it because of the way that they did everything, right? They recommended a credit card because it's associated with my Google Pay account. So the credit card they recommended that they associated with me, that's why they recommended it, caused them to suspend the account after a dismal hour with one of their employees, and then all the other things I played and showed for you guys in my other videos. And so it's an absolute mess, right? I mean, it's embarrassing. Like, it's really bad. Everything that I've experienced, I'm supposed to be their customer, and they, the level of suspicion, the level of their failure in terms of their algorithms and their bots and things is atrocious. It's unbelievable. And so I want to talk more about the Perry Mason thing, I was going to do that here, but I'm kind of tired, so I'm going to start doing the other stuff, my screen flow. But hopefully I'll talk about Perry Mason at the end of this video and a little bit about Jurassic Park to go along with all this stuff. But let's get into the other things here first. And so I'll do an update on the whole ads thing. They seem to be spending more money per day than I told them to, so then I'm going to have to talk to them about that as well. Like, it's just so, and they want me to, I mean, how do I monitor these things? And they say they have all these impressions. Like I said, it says here, 30,800 impressions and 0 clicks. Like, so that's not good, right? I mean, this is not being very effective at this point. I don't see this being beneficial to me after, we'll see. I'll have to have more knowledge to evaluate the process. But right now, it's not even contributing to views of my video. And I'm not sure how that works because I think it's a 15-second ad. It runs automatically. And I don't know if they're counting that towards views or not. But people aren't then clicking through to my, we'll see. Like, if there's more subscribers. Well, I can look at the subscribers right now here. So I've lost 5 subscribers. And so it's just not looking great for Google Ads. I mean, I give it some time, but if I'm losing subscribers, then it's clearly they're just burning through my money for no reason. And then it's going to make me question the whole business model of what they're doing over there. So sometimes you're better off not knowing is what I'm saying. All right, let's get into the other stuff with Jen Psaki and all this other things. Okay, so let's start with John J. Fetterman here. And here's the picture here. And it says here, 2 thumbs up for my first time presiding over the Senate. He's actually having to wear a suit and tie for this event. I prefer his sweatshirt. It's just wonderful for me because I believe it's all a joke. I believe that this is just all performance. It's all political theater. And that's being validated by this thing, right? This is this guy here. Like, it's just, this guy can't understand what people are saying to him and he can't articulate anything. He's confused and he's, has health issues and he's had mental health issues and he has no business being a senator. And yet here he is presiding over the Senate. Just absolutely wonderful. And then this is Jen Psaki. Somehow they recommended me this thing, even though I haven't looked at Jen Psaki on Twitter. Mom of 2 amazing humans, under 8, host of Inside with Psaki. Inside with Psaki. And I didn't understand that it's a one-time show, Sundays at noon. So she only has 1 hour a week. And we're going to show you this Cory Booker thing because it's amazing. But now this makes sense because she's being billed as an insider, right? So here.
Hello.
There's a park. They're out in a park. Here she is in her park attire. Psaki and Booker again.
Good to see you.
Are you kidding me? Great to see you.
Thanks.
Booker's a giant, or she's really short. Booker has a imaginary friend named T-Bone, right? So Jojo Magoo has an imaginary friend named Corn Pop. And I did a whole thing with Cory Booker. I'm not going to show you this here. But it's hilarious. He tells a story about T-Bone. Right? Like, he just keeps on saying his name. It's a very dramatic story because T-Bone's in a gang and wants to get out. And T-Bone breaks down crying. It's wonderful. It's just great.
Important challenge. That rift. T-Bone comes to me after I get elected and says to me, Cory, can we go for a ride? And I say, T-Bone, your car or mine? And I very nervously get into his car. So we drove into South Orange and we pull over to the side of the road and I sit there and T-Bone tells me, you got to get me out of here. And I'm like, okay, T-Bone, I got some programs, some plans, you see. And now here's T-Bone, to me, feeling incredibly confident. He says to me, you got to help me get out of here. And I'm like, T-Bone, I got some programs, some plans, I know some things we can do. He goes, you don't understand something. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, And he basically explains to me that he has warrants out for his arrest and that they're closing in on him. And I hadn't seen him for a few weeks, and I'm now listening to him tell me this story. And suddenly T-Bone starts telling me his story. The community that absorbed T-Bone was a community of gang members, and T-Bone's life spiraled down from there. Here he's telling me this story about his childhood, going through it in detail, and I'm not hearing him anymore. I'm looking at my dad, a guy who's evidenced more genius than me, a guy that was controlling a business, probably making more revenue than I'll ever control in a business, had gotten twisted to the point that there we were sitting there, two young black men sitting there looking at each other. And I began to think to myself, you know what, this guy looks like me. This guy could be my dad. And suddenly he looks at me, snapping me back to focus with the same ferocity with which he threatened my life. Same ferocity. And then he says to me, and he bursts into tears and starts crying, this powerful, macho, young black male sobbing into my dashboard. That rift between me and T-Bone was inches. We sat there, but I felt so alienated that there was a gulf as wide as the Grand Canyon between us, and I could not reach out to save this young man. We drove back down to Brick Towers. He got out of the car, and I've never seen him again since that day.
Thanks for inviting me on your morning run.
I'm so psyched.
What
Thank
a perfect day for
Yes,
it.
great. Let's go.
Okay, he's not in good shape. Let's look at that run again. Watch him take off here.
Yes, great. Let's go.
Okay, so he's overweight. Oh, they're just slow down, you speed demons, yeah. Look at him run.
So you are a pretty daily runner?
I have a streak going now. Next week I'll break through the 500 days in a row of running.
Wow. So
Yes.
you run cold, rain, sleet. You're like the postal service.
I have run on days that used to be excuses not to run for me, but now I get this sense of triumph. How long can I keep this streak going?
Exactly. He's got to keep his streak going. How about your streak of not winning any primaries for the presidency? You've got a zero streak going there. Are you going to keep that going?
What made you start running?
I started, I guess, now almost 2 years ago with this frustration about the political dialogue and the tension growing in our country. I think we're suffering from a severed belonging, our sense of well-being and connection.
And so I just started to run away from it. In New Jersey, Newark.
And I realized that
Newark is for artists.
maybe I can do something for myself and be an example, live my truth as best as possible, because so much of our well-being is connected to our daily habits.
It's just so weird, right? This is really weird. But now I understand her show is they want to, her to be an insider because she was in the Biden White House. She was, knowing all these people. She has connections, and she's having these personal interactions where they're catching on tape, but it's all, fake. It's so fake and superficial and goofy, right? Trying to show these people drinking lattes and eating bagels and going for what they call a jog, right?
Our ability to connect. And
Because it's a mental health thing for you as well as physical.
it is definitely a mental health thing for me. It's helped me not only improve my own.
There's nothing worse than having to talk when you're running. When you're competing on a, athletic level, because you're out of breath, and it's two different, your brain goes into a different mode when you play sports. That's why when athletes, after playing a really hard game, especially in basketball, that is, fatiguing, and then they have to be interviewed, and it's hard to shift into talking mode, right? You're in athletic mode. And when you talk on the athletic field, it's very short, it's to the point, and it's not long, you're not philosophizing or any of these things, right? It's hard to talk when you're actually doing it, it's hard to talk. And this is like a ridiculous thing they're doing, because the guy's, clearly overweight, right? And so, he has like my body type. This is, like when I told you guys I went and ran, I hadn't run in a long time. I'm like, wait, I'm running like an old fat guy. I'm like, oh. And so it's hard on you when you're carrying a lot of weight. There's better ways to burn fat. There's better ways to stay in shape. Of course, walking being one of them. It's hard on your knees and your joints. And he's running on cement here.
Own health, but also my overall sense of well-being. sense of personal triumph. It bleeds into other areas of my life. And, just to be clear, all these
Right, 'cause he's starting to be out of breath, and it's hard to understand him.
health statistics that are stunning for Americans, they're particularly stunning for Black Americans. We have Black men have next to Native American men.
It's like there's 4 dogs over here.
And
The dog's taking a crap.
the lowest life expectancy in America. And I'm now in my 50s and seeing so many Black men start to die or be debilitated.
What about T-Bone? How's T-Bone doing?
So, look, I fight for policy, fight for legislation, but I think the larger fight for our
So
country.
he's having to wipe off his sweat, right? It's just, you don't do interviews when you're jogging. They're trying to be like, I mean, the amount of effort, because someone's there in front of them trying to hold, they have some kind of device where the camera is being held steady, right?
Now is to return to a sense of
So someone's in front of them with a camera, and I mean, it's just so artificial. And I mean, he's trying to, talk about things that are what he considers relevant to, I mean, staying in shape is, one thing is to get your cardio going, but it's, my wife was saying that she read that it was better to do sprinting than, say, jogging to get your heart rate up again. I'm not recommending anything, but we do walks. I walk about 7 miles a day, but it's other things that if you want to lose weight and burn fat, cardio isn't always the best when you get to a certain age, right? And for men, it's often boosting your testosterone and other things as you get older. But in all those things, right, this is weird. Like, it's just contrived and weird.
connection, belonging, well-being, and I think our current political
She keeps on having to look ahead so she doesn't stumble. Then she looks back. Watch Jen Psaki.
culture is toxic. And so I'm going to continue to fight for what I believe in, but I decided to turn my social media accounts over significantly to things I know that are a little above politics and speak to our common humanity and what I think are some of the larger causes of our country, which is how can we as a nation be losing in so many ways that sense of common cause, that sense of
And so I guess eventually it comes to a sit-down interview. Oh, here, there's coming to it.
Stiff, and nothing can blow you away. And of course, it's physical, but it's also spiritual.
yeah.
Wait, what was that? That was weird. Here.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering
Same to you.
if you have an inspiring story or quote or something that that you can inspire folks with.
So I think a lot about advice my mother has given me. The piece of advice she gave me the night before my first briefing at the White House was this: even if you feel stressed, if you feel pressure, keep your feet grounded on the ground
On the ground? How about in the sky? I want to keep my feet grounded on the sky.
and keep your spine stiff. And
Yes, exactly. She has a very stiff spine.
nothing can blow you away. And of course, it's physical, but it's also spiritual.
Yes.
Because what it
That's some spiritual stuff right there.
means is stay true to who you are and your own values and who you know you are, and don't let external forces try to blow you over.
Whoa, that was unbelievable. Look at him. Look how happy he is.
love that.
He
Thank
loves
you.
that. I knew he would. And then they're in the halls of the Senate.
Hi,
back.
Senator Booker.
How are
Good
you?
to see you again.
Look at us all clean.
We've
showered.
cleaned up since our run this morning.
Okay, so then they do an interview here, whatever. It's Cory Booker, so unless he's bringing T-Bone to the party, it's just not interesting. So then there was this. I saw this guy, Raskin, talking about the debt, and I didn't get a chance to tape it with my phone, but it was a different show. So then I saw this guy, Jamie Raskin, and I'm not sure where it was, but it was one of these news programs, and he was saying things. I hope he repeats himself. He's talking about the debt, and if he does, that'll be great. If not, I'll try to remember what he said. I didn't get a chance to copy it. I think it might have been on CNN, but here he is on the show with Joy Reid. The Readout, Reid, R-E-I-D. It's a play on words.
As the United States teeters on the edge of defaulting on its debt, Republicans are holding firm to demands to gut programs for the poor and working families, and they're wasting time.
They're just wasting time.
Literally. On Monday, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said the quiet part out loud about his pointless investigation into the Biden family, which found nothing.
Okay. Found nothing when the government or the media or anybody in power investigates themselves. Of course they find nothing. The mafia, if you allow, criminal organizations to investigate themselves, of course they're not going to find anything. And they're all in, cahoots, right? The media and the politicians and the, big business and banks and the intelligence community, they're all working together. So when they do an investigation, they never find anything unless they want to find something, right? There's no consequences when they do find something. But what Hunter Biden said on his laptop and the information that's come up, and just knowing that the guy smoked crack but was being paid millions of dollars to smoke crack, we know that there was corruption, right? And business partners and people have come forward, Tony Bobolinsky, and they've just refused to acknowledge this, right? And not that I care, because I'm not a Republican, and not that I care about the government. I know it's corrupt and it's collapsing, but that's just an out-and-out lie, right? You're saying they found nothing. Of course they found nothing. It's not like there's nothing to find. It's just they're not looking for anything, right?
So do you think that because
millions flow to the Biden family members, don't pretend it doesn't matter. And we're still left with the motley crew of odd and unsavory figures spending a lot of money through a lot of companies and a lot of members of the Biden family with little explanation why. This is the New York Post.
because of your investigation, that is what's moved this needle with the media?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question. You look at the polling, and right now Donald Trump is 7 points ahead of Joe Biden and trending upward. Joe Biden's trending downward.
Well, if that sounds familiar, here's the then Republican House Majority Leader justifying the Benghazi investigation in 2015.
Okay, so let's move forward to this stuff with Jamie Raskin. Here he is, here.
I'm joined now by Maryland Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin, the ranking member on the Oversight Committee. He was a member of the Select Committee to investigate January 6th. Always good to speak with you, Congressman Raskin. I have to tell you, the joking and trolling and the lip balm disgusting auction actually really infuriated me today as a story.
She got
And
mad.
I'll tell you why. Let me just put up this little
She's no longer joyful. She's madful.
screen. These are the debt payments that are at risk starting June 1st. $10 billion in military pay and retirement.
Okay, so this is her getting mad. Let's go through to this guy.
I wonder how you feel having to
How do you feel, Jamie? Nice do-rag. He's got cancer, you know.
serve in a House of Representatives where this is the dynamic.
Well, it's a totally cavalier, madcap environment among the Republicans.
The Republicans are the worst. It's their fault. It's their fault, the Republicans. Again, I'm not a Republican. I'm just telling you. I'm just making commentary on their show.
It's like they're all playing the fool on the Titanic while they try to
They're playing the fool on the Titanic.
crash the ship. They would really bring down the entire economy of the United States and plunge us into recession with 7 or 8 million jobs lost without batting an eye, just to prove their point that they
Exactly. They're gonna wreck the whole country, even though a country's in good shape and economically we're doing great. And those Republicans are just gonna wreck all of it by not paying a debt that we could never pay off because it's too big. It's too large. I've gone through the numbers before.
They want to try to dismantle the social programs that millions of people across the country depend on. So it's a scary situation to see how deranged it's gotten. But
it's scary and they're deranged. The language he used, again, this is what he did on the other show. You know, how despicable the Republicans were, what this disaster that's impending, and only they can prevent it from happening by being reasonable people.
the price of allowing them to believe in lies and to totally deaden themselves to what the truth is and what facts are and
what facts are, our facts, the facts that we have, that we're the factory. That's a that's a meme. I can't find it, but it's a Cardi B meme.
I'm Brim. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hat girl. I've been jacking Brim since I was 16. And I took an oath when I was 16.
In support of the oath I first took at 17 upon entering the Naval Academy.
Oath.
An oath,
Oath.
an oath,
Oath.
an oath,
Oath.
an oath.
But I'm alright. I'm alright. Oh, I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no. These are ruby nipples. A label be buying your success. Some factory.
Human compassion is supposed to be all about. So I do think it's a frightening situation.
It's frightening, very scary. You guys should be very scared.
Fortunately, we've got the Constitution on our side, and
Constitution's on our side. It said, do as much, get in as much debt as possible. It says it right there in the Constitution. Just completely mortgage the future of the country and be in a state of revolving debt, right? That's what the Constitution says. I've read it. It says, as much as we can, get this country in debt and just keep it there until it collapses.
14th Amendment says that the validity of the public debt shall not be questioned, which to my mind means
the validity of the public debt. It shouldn't be questioned. Don't question the validity of our debt. Our debt is completely valid.
That forced to the edge by these MAGA extremists, the president has no other choice but to respect the laws of the country and pay our bills to the Social Security recipients, the Medicare recipients, veterans, and the bondholders of the country.
Exactly, all those people. The 14th Amendment. This was something they were crying about before with Fetterman. We got to use the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment passed on June 8th, 1866. So this is when the budget always has in crisis right around this time of year. In 1866. And so this is right before they went to a debt-based economy, right? So this is long after the founding fathers, who were all Freemasons anyway and were disreputable, right? This is not like they were great guys, but there was no thought of America ever being in debt by the founding fathers. There was no sense of a debt-based currency and mortgaging, the future of the government by getting into debt with the Federal Reserve, which came into being in the 1920s. So this is sometime before that, right? Passed on the Senate on June 8th, 1866, and ratified 2 years later on July 9th, 1868. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States. But then here, the amendment prohibited former Confederate states from repaying war debts and compensating former slave owners for the emancipation of their enslaved people. Finally, it granted the Congress the power to enforce this amendment in a provision that led to the passage of other landmark legislation of the 20th century, the Civil Rights Act. It really doesn't say anything about the debt-based economy. And so engaged in insurrection. It banned those who engaged in insurrection. I think that's what they're, but this says nothing about the debt-based economy. So I don't know where they're going with this. They're calling it an insurrection. They're trying to say that what the Republicans are doing here is an insurrection.
But we've got some breaking news now about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
They got some breaking news. Breaking news. It's breaking all over the place. Most of the breaking news is like completely bogus. This is part of it because DeSantis, we know he's going to run for president for a while. And he has, at this point, zero chance of winning. He could possibly become vice president, depending how ugly it gets with Trump, in terms of Trump's running and all of the rest of that, right?
NBC News has learned he will launch his presidential bid tomorrow evening in a conversation with Elon Musk. I want to bring in NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns. Dasha, what are you learning?
What are you learning, Dasha? Dasha, what do you got? What do we got from Dasha?
Hey, Chris, we are first to report that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will officially step into the national...
You're first? Wait, you guys are first? I think you should do a little bit more bragging. You got this DeSantis on Twitter with Musk story first before anybody else? How wonderful for you guys. I mean, you guys are the best. At least you're the first. Okay, so we know that happened, right?
So today was the big day.
Today was the big day. What big day was that?
The day the man who is widely seen as the strongest potential competitor to former President Trump in the 2024 Republican primary. Today was the day this guy entered the race.
Kaboom. He entered the race today. How did he do? I wonder how well he did.
It is the biggest day of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' political career so far. The biggest day, certainly, since he first stepped out onto the national stage in 2018 as a candidate for Florida governor.
Boom, here it is. Okay, they're going back down. So I wonder how they feel about his performance.
Everyone knows my husband, Ron DeSantis, is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad.
He's an amazing dad. Trump likes him. He's a good dad.
Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He's building a wall. He's building a wall in Florida. What a tool.
Reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He loves that part. He's a good reader. He's reading his kids. What's the name of the book here?
Then Mr.
The title of the book is Trump something. Pitfall Trump Defender.
Trump said, "You're fired."
Look at this kid right here. They're using his kid as a prop with his Trump book. What a sad, pathetic person, right?
I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
Boom, exactly. There you go.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
Wow. That's not going to bode well for him now.
That ad was from way back in 2018 when DeSantis was positioning himself as a Trump understudy, someone who knew all the lyrics, who had studied all the lines.
Like, how's this person on TV? Condescending and just not funny, not anything, right? I've seen her before in one of these other things. Alex Wagner.
Just hadn't gotten the lead yet. And that ad very much encapsulates the essential problem DeSantis faces as he tries to beat Trump in the primary, something Donald Trump himself seems to recognize. Now, think back to the Republican primary from
Florida man versus Florida man.
2016. You had Jeb Bush and you had John Kasich and you had Chris Christie and Marco Rubio, who like to think of themselves as sort of the moderate, centrist, pro-business conservatives. You had Mike Huckabee, the Christian social conservative who was big on fighting culture wars. Remember that he didn't...
Remember those good days when they was calling him, Jeb Bush was sleepy Jeb? What do you call him? Low energy Jeb. Those were the good old days. That was a wonderful primary. That had a lot of, the difference of Joe Biden, like, drooling on himself, which is quite funny in itself, and all the stuff to do with him being incompetent, but all the unlikable and unelectable candidates in the Democratic Party versus all the clown. It's a clown fest.
I think women should use curse words. You had the farther right.
Who's that dude over there? Wait, who's
curse words?
Who's that dude right there?
You had the farther right Tea Party adjacent Ted Cruz and libertarian Rand Paul. And I'm not going to go through all of the candidates because there were approximately 69 of them in that race.
No way. That's just a weird number. I think it's just, what are you doing?
But the point is, they all had at least somewhat distinct identities, personalities of some kind that they were selling that you could use to compare. But now that the Republican Party more or less is Donald Trump, not his ideas or his policies, but the cult of personality Trump has built up as the MAGA movement, now that that is the reality of the GOP, how does someone like Ron DeSantis distinguish himself?
There's so many questions. How does he distinguish himself from Trump?
It's not like he can run more ads of himself building walls and showing off his kids in MAGA onesies. Well, today was DeSantis' big opportunity to present
the big day. Okay, let's get to how you feel about that.
Himself to the country as a contender. He did it at a little past 6 p.m. in an unprecedented way, announcing it.
So, I am one of the premier mockers on the internet. I don't know, where I rank, but I'm up there. And, I mock all these things, Hollywood, all of these other things. And I have a solution, which is a spiritual solution. It's not my solution, but it's to connect to God internally. And so my mockery has a point, showing you that the power system and the system that now has become divinity for most people. People believe in politics and government as divinity, or money as divinity, or any number of these materialistic things as their God. People worship these things. They worship celebrities. They worship all these other things. You know, it's blasphemy. And that's part of my mockery, right? But in terms of like them doing it, like here they are mocking Ron DeSantis. This is, you know, they mock Donald Trump all the time. But they have another guy, right? I don't have a politician. Like I don't have, you know, I mock, you know, I'm an equal opportunity mocker, right? I mock the left, the right, all these things. The left is more prevalent because it has more power, so I do more mocking of the left, but I do plenty of mocking, you know, just, you can see that this guy's a tool, Ron DeSantis. And he's, you know, and he's a little wannabe, a mini-me of a bigger tool in Trump, but, you know, they're all, you know, just a reflection of the, you know, the political system, as is Jojo Magoo, right? But I'm not running a different candidate. I'm mocking the whole system. They have a guy. They have a guy that they could be talking about all the time in Joe Biden. They could be talking about Joe Biden, how great he is, and how great the Democrats are all the time. But they spend probably about 10% of their airtime saying how great the Democrats are. The majority of the time is spent doing this, mocking the other guys, Trump and a Trump wannabe. And so that shows you they have nothing, that their party sucks because all they can do is mock, right? They don't have a solution. They have, well, at least we're not as bad as these guys. That's their whole platform.
Live on Twitter with Twitter's owner, one of the richest men in the world, Elon Musk. And here is how that gigantic headline moment for Ron DeSantis began this evening.
Now it's quiet.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning,
That's funny. I'm glad I saw this.
everyone, depending on wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Twitter headquarters. It's David Sachs here. Elon is sitting next to me, and we want to welcome you to
Well, like, how can they get not good audio? Like, why isn't there quality audio here?
this historic Twitter Spaces event, and more broadly, a first in the history of...
And why not video? You got video on Twitter. Like, how can you not have video? Like, we're not in the 1920s, right? There's this thing called TV, and now there's another thing called the internet, and you're on it, and you don't have, you know, they wanted to do a video platform on Twitter.
social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the...
That was a big kickoff. That was it.
That is mockable. I mean, she sucks, but like, what an epic fail. So it says DeSantis' faith in Musk for campaign launch results in humiliation. Trump is gleeful. Of course he is.
Now, I know this is Elon Musk's Twitter, the man who famously hyped one of his cars as having bulletproof windows just to have those windows break at the car's big launch. But this was Ron DeSantis' presidential
It's a truck.
campaign launch. And for 21 long minutes, it was mainly just this.
All right, sorry about that. We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers, which is a good sign.
Let's see. So,
Melting servers is always a good sign.
here we go. Yeah, I think so.
Just to simplify this, I think we're just going to use your... There's 382,000 people in the room.
All right, great. So let's see.
So they just keep crashing, huh?
Yeah, I think we've got just a massive number of people online. So it's
only 600,000 people. It's not even 1 million people, right? Only 600,000 people tuned in. That's a failure. And you guys couldn't handle it, right? Like, this is, you know, you're the tech guy. I mean...
servers are straining somewhat. I think we're back online here. Great.
Okay, so there are so many TV shows being broadcast. I mean, I watch stuff on YouTube TV, which is an online app. There's all these online services now. You can watch TV using your internet, which is a huge breakthrough for when the internet came on with the dial-up modem. Ding dong, ding dong, right? This dial-up modem, right? So high-speed internet has revolutionized how we are able to watch TV. And then, of course, there's network TV, satellite TV, cable TV, just in your local broadcast stations. And in many places, people watch, there could be 1 million viewers and it doesn't collapse your platform. I mean, there's internet shows, live feeds, things that are going on YouTube all the time where people have live feeds and they get millions of viewers. And then there's podcasts, and these all have video. And you guys couldn't pull this off with just audio. This is like, whether they're saying he's the richest man in the world and he's sending satellites up into space and they can't pull off this announcement. It's been on for 2 minutes and it's just audio, no video. And they only have 600, they don't even have 700,000 people, which is an epic fail. And,
all right. Well, it's certainly an incredible honor to have Governor DeSantis make this stark announcement.
False start after false start after false start after false start for 21 long minutes. And as for that hype that it was so many people that it was melting the servers.
Like even these networks get more people. There should be millions of people watching. Like that's a fail.
It was barely more than tuned in to watch Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez play the video game Among Us on a random night in 2020 on the platform Twitch. But servers are melting down. That's how popular Governor DeSantis is. Can you believe the excitement? Just a brutal start to a presidential campaign. Truly unprecedented.
It's the kind of thing the Democrats do all the time. Like when Hillary got hacked, when Obama signed, what's that guy's name, whatever his, John Podesta, he wrote a report on internet safety and how to keep governmental, internet data safe. And then he got hacked. Somebody asked him for his password to his Google account, and he gave it up. And then the DNC got hacked, right? And then that whole debacle happened. But you guys didn't cover that. This is bad. Like, I'm glad you're doing this because it's funny. But, it's not like you guys are tech geniuses either.
Now, lucky for Mr. DeSantis, that was not the only part of his launch today. He also released this much more traditional ad.
In Florida, we proved that it can be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination, law and order over rioting and disorder. We held the line when freedom hung in the balance. We showed that we can and must revitalize America. We need the courage to
is revitalize America like making America great again?
Lead and the strength to win. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American.
Somehow he doesn't have a Florida accent. He has like a New York accent.
American comeback.
There's a lot to get into there. But
all right, so that's that. He's a failure and whatever. We'll see how that all happens. So then, I don't know if it was the same night, but I don't think so because I think she was wearing something different. This is the handover. So that was her show going to this guy's show.
Well, this is the breaking news that I'm holding in my hands. This is
breaking news, more breaking news. All right, let me guess. Is it about Trump? Is it about Trump? I think it's probably about Trump. Or could it be about hammering? Is it about hammering? It's about Trump or it's about hammering. Those are my guess.
Demanding to know, where's Nancy?
Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where's the hammer? Is it on go up on the other floor? Somebody go up there and stop the hammering.
A letter from Donald Trump's attorney.
It's about Trump, not about hammering.
To Attorney General Merrick Garland. The letter to the Attorney General says, we represent Donald J. Trump.
The Lollipop Guild or the Hammer Society of America?
45th President of the United States in the investigation currently being conducted.
His glasses.
by the special counsel's office. They go on to propagandize about Hunter Biden, which of course makes
we don't know. We don't even know who that is. Like, who is this Hunter Biden they speak of?
no sense. And then,
No sense talking about that guy, crackhead son of the president. Why would anybody in the news or in the legal system be talking about a crackhead whose dad's the president? And he's been paid millions of dollars to smoke crack and impregnate strippers. Strippers named Dallas from Arkansas, and then not pay child support, then try to get out of child support, then try to reduce child support, then child support, right? All these things. Why would we be into that? Like, why would that be newsworthy?
and they say what the letter is about in the final sentence of this very short letter. We request a meeting at your earliest convenience to discuss the ongoing injustice that is being perpetrated by your special counsel and his prosecutors. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So there it is tonight. The Trump lawyers.
You got it. This was not worthy of breaking news.
Asking Merrick Garland, the attorney general.
Yeah, we heard you don't have to explain the thing. We understand what they were doing there. Look at this sad sack MNFer right here. Look at this pathetic piece of, I don't like hammering MNFer right here. The guy exists, his center of his existence is Trump. It has been in terms of his show and in terms of this network. And they've been talking about Trump's criminal behavior now since, the early part of his presidency and while he was running for president. And they've, impeached him twice. And I'm not saying that Trump is not a criminal, because he is. He's been for a while. He's somebody, rich people who get away with things that are above the law. And he was as a celebrity and a, so-called billionaire, whatever he was, right? Trump isn't great. But they can't put Trump in jail because that's all they have. Trump is the center of their universe. I've said this over and over again. I just said it now again. And so they can't put him in jail, but they, talking about like he deserves to go to jail. So like you got to be the most impotent man in the world, right? You and your network. If all you talk about is putting Trump in jail, and if he never goes to jail, or if he actually wins and becomes president again, like, that is on the table. And so, what, right? Like, what's your life about, right? What are you doing with your life? You're some old guy on the internet and talking about Trump and how Trump's a criminal, and the system, which is run by Democrats and the liberal media and the liberal social media, can't put the guy in jail, and because you guys have nothing without Trump, right? Without contrasting your platform, your non-existent platform, and your non-existent solutions with which is the problem of Trump. I mean, how embarrassing and pathetic it is to be you. Like, it's just every day waking up and talking about something that, should end in the person you're talking about being either excised out of the political system or more seriously be put into jail. And it's never going to happen because you guys need to talk about it. You need Trump, right? And DeSantis isn't Trump, right? DeSantis isn't going to be enough. He's not going to be as hated and as triggering as Trump is. So they don't have a Trump replacement. And so they're just caught in this box of talking about how bad Trump is without Trump ever experiencing any real consequences.
Stop the hammering. Call Griffin. I don't care who the to call. Stop the hammering. Empty out the goddamn control room and find out where this is going on. It's either there or out there somewhere. Out of control. Jesus Christ. Crazy sound coming in my ear. This stupid hammering. I told you why I wanted those words cut. It just sucks. It sucks to be out here with this out of control. Any thing can come into my ear at any moment. These things. How do you say this guy's last name? Demanding to know where's Nancy.
Okay, so I lost, I think, 4 more subscribers. This is great. Like, it sucks, but it's great. Um, so yeah, I lost 4 more subscribers. So since they've been running ads, I think it's a total of, I don't know how many, whatever I said before, plus 4. Today's been a lot of work I've been doing outside. Pretty positive day, but I don't have much time left. I just want to talk about the Perry Mason thing. I'll talk about the Jurassic Park stuff, and I got a bunch of other things I wanted to get in here, and hopefully I'll remember them all for tomorrow's video or for a video for 2 days from now. And so my wife and I watched what I hope is all the seasons of Perry Mason, 2 of them. I think there might be a third, but we're not going to watch it. So the second season was so god-awful, and it was the agenda. Well, there's 2 things here. Because suspense and courtroom drama is something my wife particularly likes, and I like, mysteries, whatever it is. And HBO makes good quality TV shows in terms of production values and acting and all these things. And they so decimated the Perry Mason universe. And I talked about this a little before. But Perry Mason was a show that I watched when I think when I was doing third shift security guard, and it was just the only thing on. Like, it wasn't a show I would have watched, so I don't have some attachment to it. But the way they treated the show, and it was so filled with woke stuff in the first season, and it got even worse the second season, because it was just like a war on men. Perry Mason was a drunk alcoholic loser, and Della Street was in this version was a lesbian, very efficient, a woman who was propping Perry Mason up, even though he had no real redeemable qualities. But in the second season, she dumps her younger lover for an older woman, and it's about her and the relationship. So much is about these relationships and the drama and the music, that drama music they play. And I just don't like drama. Very seldom will I find a show that's, its theme is drama or movie drama watchable. And it was so dramatic unnecessarily, and it was so light on story. They didn't even get into the court side of it by the 5th episode out of 8, right? So they had 3 episodes that involved the court drama, and it really wasn't very much. There's a scene where Della Street says she thinks she should do the cross-examination. She's already crapped all over Perry Mason, and there was a wealthy billionaire woman, and she was saying, "Oh, you're so much better than he is. You're carrying him." And she said, "Well, it's my best chance to become a lawyer." So it was all this feminist consciousness that wasn't there at the time, right? There was things like, women getting the right to vote in the 20s and, real things, right? Like, that's something that, women not getting the right to vote is an effed up thing, right? There was real problems going on, but not this socialist consciousness, feminist consciousness, how men suck and they're always trying to keep you down. And you hear it over and over in these TV shows, right? And so this woman, this billionaire woman, is talking Perry Mason down, and Della Street says, "Well, this is my best chance to become a lawyer," right? And she gets up and does the cross-examination, and they're like, "Well, you do this even better than Perry Mason." And I'm like, so you're better, literally better at everything than Perry is, but the show is called Perry Mason. And the show is like centered around her, and all the people who are competent and powerful in the show are women, and they're constantly saving their men and bailing them out and all these things, not in a realistic way, and not in one that would involve like nurturing qualities and motherly qualities, things that, women have a superior abundance of, right? Men don't really have much in terms of a maternal instinct, but in ways of, business and things that, back in the 30s wasn't accurate historically or, in terms of an attitude or all these other things, right? This idea of the war of the sexes and that women would run the country better and do a better job than men, when these shows are clearly worse, right? Like, this is a worse show than the show that was made with Raymond Burr years ago. And it's so contrived, and it's so, filled with indoctrination, and it's painful to watch. It was really bad. The drama and all of it, right? It's soul sucking. It's making bad shows even worse. It's making bad content even worse. And that's, I think that's the new agenda, Hollywood. We're making bad content even worse. That should be Hollywood's new tagline. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.